Do not react when a man hurts you. This is not merely advice. It is a divine principle rooted in the very nature of the kingdom of God. The moment you choose to react impulsively, driven by your pain, anger, or confusion, you surrender the power God has given you. You give away your authority, your peace, and your destiny. And the enemy rejoices. You were created with a purpose, designed with intentionality and power. Your value is not wrapped in the hands of those who may hurt you, but in the heart of the Creator who made you in His image. I remember this. Your identity is anchored in heaven, not in the actions or words of any man. When hurt comes, your first impulse might be to lash out, to retaliate, or to close off your heart. But I tell you, the greatest victory is found in self-control. The fruit of the Spirit is not reaction, it is restraint. When you refuse to react, you align yourself with the spirit of wisdom and peace. You demonstrate the power of a kingdom citizen. Seek understanding before you speak judgment. Often, those who hurt you are themselves broken, wounded in places you cannot see. Your response is not just about them. It reveals the condition of your own heart. Will you rise above the temptation to bitterness? Will you extend grace even when it seems impossible? The kingdom calls you to respond differently, to love when it's hard, to forgive when you feel betrayed. This is not weakness. It is strength. It is power. It is the divine way. When you forgive, you break chains that threaten to bind your spirit. You free yourself from the prison of pain. Do not let hurt steal your future. Use every wound as a stepping stone to greater growth. The challenges you face today are preparing you for the destiny God has for you tomorrow. When you choose to respond with faith instead of fury, you transform pain into purpose. And finally, release your pain to God. Carrying bitterness is like holding a burning coal. It only burns you. Hand it over to the one who knows your suffering intimately and can heal every broken place. When you do, you walk forward in freedom, power, and peace. Your identity is not something that is given by the world or defined by the way people treat you. It is rooted deeply and eternally in the kingdom of God. You are a child of the Most High, created with intention, purpose, and value far beyond what any human can assign. When a man hurts you, it is easy to let his words or actions shake your sense of worth. But you must remember that your true value is found in who God says you are, not in how you are treated. Your identity is established by divine truth, not by human opinion or circumstance. In the kingdom of God, your identity is tied to His nature, holy, beloved, chosen, and empowered. This means that no rejection, no insult, no betrayal can diminish your standing before God or change the purpose for which you were created. When you internalize this, you begin to walk in freedom. You are no longer a victim of your environment or the actions of others. You become anchored in the unshakable truth of your divine identity. This foundation gives you strength to withstand hurt without crumbling, to face trials without losing hope, and to rise above offense without becoming bitter. To recognize your identity in God's kingdom is to see yourself as a royal priest, a co-heir with Christ, a person entrusted with a sacred mission. It is to know that your life has significance and that your destiny cannot be altered by the temporary pain inflicted by others. When you hold fast to this truth, you no longer react out of insecurity or fear. Instead, you respond with confidence and purpose, knowing that the God who formed you holds your life in His hands and calls you by name. Your identity in Him is the anchor that secures your heart amid the storms of life. When you are hurt by someone, the natural instinct is to react immediately, often with anger, frustration, or pain. This impulse to respond quickly and emotionally is powerful, but it is also dangerous. Reacting in the heat of the moment usually leads to decisions and words that create more damage than healing. The kingdom principle calls you to resist this urge because true strength is shown not in how fast you respond, but in how wisely and calmly you choose to act. Anger, while a natural emotion, can become a weapon that wounds not only others but yourself. When you react out of pain, you give control of your emotions and ultimately your destiny to the one who hurt you. You become a prisoner to your feelings, and your response becomes a reflection of your brokenness rather than your wholeness. The impulse to retaliate, lash out, or seek immediate justice blinds you to the higher purpose God has for your situation. Instead, resist. Take a moment to breathe, to seek clarity, and to invite the Spirit of God to guide your heart. When you pause before reacting, you open the door for divine wisdom to direct your steps. You remind yourself that you are not a slave to your emotions, but a child of God empowered by His Spirit. This resistance is not weakness, it is the exercise of kingdom authority. By choosing not to react in anger or pain, you position yourself to respond with grace, with peace, and with power. You disrupt the cycle of hurt and revenge. You become an agent of healing and restoration, walking in the supernatural strength that God provides to those who trust Him instead of their feelings. This discipline is essential if you are to live a life that reflects the character and purpose of the kingdom. Self-control is not just a good habit. It is a spiritual weapon given to you by the Spirit of God. When a man hurts you, the battle is not only external, it is deeply internal. Your flesh will urge you to respond in anger, to lash out, to take revenge. But the kingdom calls you to exercise power that goes beyond human strength, a power rooted in restraint, discipline, and divine authority. Self-control is the ability to govern your emotions, thoughts, and actions, even when circumstances provoke you to react impulsively. This power of self-control is evidence of a heart surrendered to God, a heart that recognizes it is not ruled by feelings, but by the Spirit. It is in those moments of hurt that your character is tested. Will you give in to the natural desire to retaliate? Or will you rise above and demonstrate the maturity and wisdom that God requires of His children? Remember, self-control is the fruit of the Spirit, and it is by walking in the Spirit that you overcome the desires of the flesh. And when you exercise self-control, you take back authority over your response. You refuse to be a puppet to your emotions or to the pain inflicted upon you. Instead, you become a master of your reactions, reflecting the image of a kingdom citizen who walks in peace and power. This restraint doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong. It positions you to respond with clarity, purpose, and a heart aligned with God's will. In real life, this means when provoked, you pause before you speak, before you act. You pray, you seek wisdom, and you remind yourself of the greater calling on your life. You refuse to allow momentary pain to dictate your destiny. Self-control is the power to break the cycle of hurt and reaction, to shine as a light of peace in a world desperate for healing. It is the mark of one who is truly free, truly powerful, and truly led by the Spirit. When someone hurts you, the first impulse is often to judge, to condemn the person and write them off as unworthy of your trust or love. But kingdom wisdom teaches you to pause and seek understanding before passing judgment. Hurt is rarely as simple as it appears on the surface. Behind the actions that wound you, there is often a deeper story, a hidden pain or a struggle that the other person is facing. To respond with immediate judgment is to limit your vision and to miss the opportunity for healing and restoration. Understanding does not mean excusing wrong behavior, nor does it mean you must tolerate abuse or mistreatment. It means choosing to look beyond your own pain and seeing the other person through the eyes of compassion and truth. When you seek understanding, you align yourself with God's heart, a heart that knows brokenness and offers grace even to the undeserving. You realize that those who hurt others are often themselves hurting, caught in their own wounds and weaknesses. By seeking to understand, you open a door to empathy, which can disarm anger and soften resentment. This does not make you weak, it makes you wise. Judgment without understanding is reaction. Understanding before judgment is the way of peace and kingdom authority. It allows you to respond not as a victim, but as a mature person who controls their emotions and embraces God's higher purpose. In practical terms, seeking understanding means asking questions like, why did this happen? What pain or fear might be driving this behavior? How can I protect myself without losing my peace? It means praying for insight and wisdom, allowing God to reveal the hidden layers beneath the hurt. This approach transforms your response from one of retaliation to one of redemption, reflecting the character of the kingdom and positioning you to walk in freedom and victory. When a man hurts you, the natural response may be to hold on to anger, resentment, or even thoughts of revenge. But the kingdom way calls you to respond differently, with love and forgiveness. This is not a suggestion to deny your pain or pretend the hurt never happened. Rather, it is a deliberate choice to reflect the heart of God, who loved us while we were yet sinners and forgave us even when we did not deserve it. Kingdom love and forgiveness are powerful forces that break the chains of bitterness and release you into freedom. Responding with love means seeing beyond the offense to the humanity of the person who hurt you. It means refusing to let their actions define your emotions or your future. Kingdom love is patient and kind. It does not keep a record of wrongs, but chooses to restore and reconcile whenever possible. This love is a spiritual weapon. It disarms the enemy's plans to destroy your peace and your destiny. When you choose love, you declare that your life is governed by a higher authority, not by the offenses of this world. Forgiveness is the pathway to healing. It is not about forgetting or excusing wrongs. It is about releasing the hold that the pain has on your heart. Forgiveness frees you from the prison of bitterness and opens the door for God's grace to work in your life. It is an act of obedience and faith, trusting that God will bring justice in His perfect timing. When you forgive, you align yourself with God's kingdom principles and walk in the supernatural peace that surpasses understanding. In real life, this means actively choosing to bless those who hurt you, praying for their healing, and refusing to allow bitterness to take root. It means understanding that your forgiveness is a gift to yourself as much as to them. A gift that restores your joy, your freedom, and your purpose. Kingdom, love, and forgiveness transform pain into power and open the way for restoration, not just for others, but for your own soul. Hurt is never wasted in the kingdom of God. When a man hurts you, it may feel like a setback, a defeat, or even a personal failure. But the truth is that pain can become the very catalyst for your greatest growth. The kingdom teaches that every trial, every wound, and every disappointment carries within it a divine lesson designed to shape you into the person God created you to be. Your response to hurt determines whether it will break you or build you. When you allow hurt to consume you, it traps you in a place of bitterness and stagnation. But when you choose to see hurt through the lens of purpose, you step into transformation. The pain reveals areas in your life that need healing, areas of weakness that require strengthening, and areas of misunderstanding that call for wisdom. This process is not easy, but it is necessary. It is in the furnace of pain that character is refined, faith is strengthened, and vision is clarified. Personal growth through hurt means asking yourself the hard questions. What can I learn from this experience? How is God using this pain to prepare me for something greater? How can I forgive and release what weighs me down so I can move forward? These questions invite you into a deeper relationship with God and a higher level of maturity. You become more resilient, more compassionate, and more aligned with your divine destiny. In the kingdom, your pain is never the end of the story. It is a doorway to greater strength, greater wisdom, and greater purpose. When you use hurt as a catalyst for growth, you rise above victimhood and take your place as a warrior, a leader, and a vessel of God's glory. This is how hurt is transformed from a source of brokenness into a foundation for breakthrough. The pain caused by someone's hurt can weigh heavily on your soul, like a burden too heavy to carry alone. But the kingdom teaches you that you were never meant to bear this pain by yourself. God invites you to release your hurt, your anger, your disappointment, and your bitterness into His hands. When you hold on to pain, you imprison yourself in a cage of resentment that keeps you from walking in the fullness of the life God intended for you. True freedom begins the moment you surrender your pain to the one who understands it all and can heal every wound. Releasing your pain to God is an act of faith and trust. It means acknowledging that you cannot control every situation or change every person, but God can. When you give Him your hurt, you are opening your heart to His healing power and inviting His peace to replace your turmoil. This release is not forgetting or pretending the pain never happened. It is choosing to no longer let it define you or control your future. It is a declaration that God's grace is greater than your wounds. Walking in freedom means living without the chains of bitterness, anger, or revenge. It means rising above the pain and stepping into the purpose God has for you with a light and unburdened spirit. When you release your pain to God, you become free to love again, to trust again, and to pursue your destiny without being held back by the past. This freedom is a testimony to the power of God working in your life, transforming hurt into hope, sorrow into joy, and brokenness into breakthrough. In surrendering your pain, you are choosing life. Life abundant, life victorious, life empowered by the Spirit of God. This is the kingdom way, and it leads you into a future full of promise and peace. When a man hurts you, remember this: your response is a reflection of your identity and your allegiance. You have been called not to react out of pain or anger, but to rise above, anchored in the unshakable truth of who you are in God's kingdom. Every moment of hurt carries within it the seed of transformation. If only you choose to nurture it with self-control, understanding, love, and forgiveness. Do not allow temporary pain to steal your eternal purpose. Release your burdens to God, walk in freedom, and stand firm as a powerful witness of God's grace. You are not defined by the wounds inflicted upon you. You are defined by the power with which you overcome. Choose the kingdom way and watch how your life becomes a testimony of victory, restoration, and divine destiny fulfilled.